He wore a tall pointed blue hat, a long grey cloak and a silver scarf. He had a long white beard and bushy eyebrows that stuck out beyond the brim of his hat. Who is Gandalf, the many names? Where was he from? What was his purpose? Why was he involved in so many key moments from The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings? Let's find out. Gandalf is a Maiar, a spirit that accompanied the Valar when they came into the world of Arda, but not as powerful as the Valar who are gods. The Valar were created by Eru from his thoughts. Eru is the supreme god that was there at the beginning, an Odin or Zeus figure, and from him, or those he made, all things were created. The Valar entered the world after it was made to give order and to fight against the influence of Melkor, the first Dark Lord. He is also one of the Valar, who seeks the power to control the races that exist. Within this world, the Maiar serve as servants and helpers to the Valar. Each of the Valar has them. In this time, Gandalf is known as Olorin. I will refer to his alternative names as we come to the different periods in his life, but will for clarity mainly use the name Gandalf. He is known as being the wisest of the Maiar. He dwelt in Lorien. This is not the Lorien of Galadriel fame, but a precursor. Éomer, one of the Valar, owns the garden, so a garden of the gods. He also went to Nienna, and it was there Gandalf learnt pity and patience. She was a Valar who has the responsibility of mercy and grief in the world of Arda, as it is known. Gandalf loved the elves, but when he was with them, he could either not be seen or was disguised as one of them, and so the wisdom he shared, they did not know the source of. Later he became friends to all the children of the gods, and he would take pity on their sorrows, but for those who would listen to him, they found they could awoke from despair and put away the imagination of darkness. He guarded the elven ring of fire. It had been gifted to Círdan, Lord of the Haven, but he had given it to Gandalf, knowing where he came from and where he would return to, the lands of the Valar. Círdan said, "This is the ring of fire. Thou shalt rekindle hearts to the valour of old in a world that grows still." As the first shadows of Sauron came to Middle-earth, so did the Istari, or wizards. They came from the Lords of the West to fight the power of Sauron by guiding men and elves to valiant deeds. Their appearances were of old men, as the Maiar can change their appearance, and they changed little as time passed. Amongst the Istari were Radagast and Saruman, under different names, and Gandalf, who would be known as Mithrandir at that time. He was close to the elves, and Elrond in particular. He never settled a home, though he wandered far in the north and west. Gandalf saw the darkness in Mirkwood, and thought this could be Sauron returning. He went there to Gol Guldur. The shadow fled. When he returned, a council was formed, the White Council, made of Galadriel, Elrond, Círdan, other elven lords, Gandalf and Saruman. Saruman was the chief of the council. Gandalf had been Galadriel's choice, but Gandalf refused, wanting no ties of allegiance save to those who sent him. It was around the time of his next wanderings that he became friends with the hobbits of the Shire, when the long winter happened, an extremely cold winter that happened in Middle-earth. He came to their aid. It was then he witnessed the great courage they held in their hearts. After, he would return with fireworks and tell the children stories. When King Thrain II from the line of dwarves who lived in the Lonely Mountains went missing, Gandalf searched for him in Moria, but he could not find him there. As Sauron became stronger, Gandalf went again to Gol Guldur and found him. He told Elrond, "It is Sauron himself who has taken shape and now grows apace." He also found the Dwarven King Thrain there, and the king gave the wizard a map and a key. The council was summoned, and Gandalf wanted to move quickly. Saruman counselled caution, and so nothing was done. Elrond spoke to Gandalf. "The one will yet be found, and then war will arise again." Gandalf replied, "Help often shall come from the hands of the weak when the wise falter." It is after this that Gandalf, seeing the weakness in the north and how Sauron might exploit this to advantage, came across Thorin Oakenshield, and with a little help from a hobbit, Bilbo, a quest was made to take back the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug. Now go read The Hobbit and return. We pick things up with Gandalf afterwards. Saruman, having studied the making of the rings, turned to dark thoughts, but did not tell the council. They were summoned and Gandalf spoke, saying they must oppose Sauron. Saruman supported him in this. Saruman then helped the council push Sauron out of Mirkwood. But Sauron did reappear in Mordor in his dark tower. The council met for a last time, and Saruman withdrew to his own tower and listened only to his own counsel. Gandalf learned the ring's location, and with the help of the Dunedain, set a watch on the land of the Perianath, and he waited. Saruman watched Gandalf, and his spies reported a special interest he had in the Shire. In 2956, Aragorn met Gandalf, and they began working together, both united in their objective to defeat Sauron. Gandalf also saw his friend in the Shire, Bilbo, was very much still alive and active, and it made him suspect that he might hold one of the Rings of Power. We won't be covering the Lord of the Rings itself, but I will come back to some points in future videos. After the Lord of the Rings, once Aragorn was made king, the white tree flowered in Minas Tirith. It bloomed, as Gandalf had found a seedling. Whilst it still grew there, the elder days were not wholly forgotten in the hearts of the king. Gandalf then left with the rest of the Fellowship. Now, with his mission fulfilled, the final defeat of Sauron, he was to return to where he had come from. He left the hobbits to their business in the Shire and went to speak with Tom Bombadil, a figure the hobbits had met as they had left the Shire on their adventure. Little is known about him. Gandalf, 2 years later, met Frodo in Mithlond to sail to Aman. He was going home after 2,000 years. He boarded with Frodo, Bilbo and Elrond and returned home to Valinor. His mission to defeat Sauron complete, and he was once again not Gandalf but Olorin. Thank you for checking out my video. Please like, subscribe and hit the bell for all notifications.